Alright, YouTube, in my last video I incorrectly analyzed the Kaepernick stuff. I thought it was the Pledge of Allegiance that he had sat out. It was actually the national anthem. I realized like the rest of the video is going to be basically the same, but at the same time I wanted it to be accurate. Several people pointed this out, so I'm like, oh, well, it's time to remake the video, I suppose. So for anyone that didn't see the prior video, which is probably most people, I think I had like 200 views when I took it down. Colin Kaepernick, I believe, is how his name is pronounced. The quarterback for the 49ers, I think. I don't care about sports, so I don't really know anything about him. Is he a good player, bad player? I don't know and I don't care. It really makes no difference to me. Can you imagine me sitting around in like sweatpants eating hot wings and watching the Super Bowl? For me, the Super Bowl is a trolling opportunity where I berate the fans of the losing team mercilessly. And I berate both teams' fans before the actual result is in and throw around a bunch of cliches in order to piss them off. I do this every year and have for several years. It's easier when the Patriots are in the Super Bowl because everyone else seems to pathologically hate them. But yeah, I don't care about sports. My thoughts on this are as follows. It is his right to sit the national anthem out. If a person is rising for it and they're sitting there tearing up and so forth, if it doesn't mean anything to them, people have gotten used to doing this sort of in a machine fashion where they just sort of stand up for whatever pledge or oath or anthem is being played. I don't understand quite why most of these people don't even know specifically what these things are about. A lot of people probably think it means fealty to the U.S. government, which it isn't. Patriotism is questioning the government because the government frequently is the source of all evil in any country. This is not just the United States. The Russians need to do this more too. So certainly the Chinese. If the North Koreans did so, they'd probably overthrow Kim Jong-un and hang him off a tree by this point. If they knew how bad things really were. Our government's quickly going that same route, which is rather sad. Thankfully, people here are, of course, armed. I don't care if he sits down for the national anthem any more than I cared when I thought it was the Pledge of Allegiance. It's voluntary. You can't be compelled to stand up for this song. This wasn't even our original anthem. I think it was Hail Columbia before that. Which, by the way, is a better song anyway. Talks more about liberty than the current national anthem. We've had, I believe that now Hail Columbia is the anthem of the Vice President of the United States. Which is okay, yeah. It's a pretty fun song. Best rendition was like from the 1910s or 20s or something like that, back when people didn't just use auto-tune when they were singing, had to have actual talent in order to pull it off. I don't care, but I think his reasoning behind it is stupid. He's trying to draw attention to police-involved shootings of minorities. Yet, the average shooting involving a minority in this country, especially a black citizen, is perpetrated by another black citizen, usually as related to gang activity, and I pointed this out before. Part of this is intrinsically the government's fault, because the drug war is what brought those gangs to the inner city to begin with, and let's not fool ourselves. One of the reasons why minorities experience more violence from police forces as an aggregate around the country is due to demographics as far as the geographic location they're living in. They tend to be at higher concentrations in urban areas. Metro urban police forces are more violent and more militaristic, and they're more authoritarian than small town police forces tend to be. It's fairly well documented. So you get some community out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, their sheriff probably isn't quite as given over to air-holing somebody as a militarized police force, many of whose members won't even be patrolling the same community that they live and work and live in. Not live and work in, obviously. They're working when they're patrolling. Sorry about that. So it seems like there's systemic oppression of these groups, but a lot of those cops that are shooting people are themselves minorities. They're black or Hispanic or whatever. And I just don't get it. I don't get what he expects to accomplish by this. He's a multi-millionaire sports star. Now, again, I don't have any idea whether he's a good football player or a bad football player. because I don't have like rosters and papers all over my wall dedicated to, oh, who's winning this season? How are the Cleveland Browns doing? Oh, what's the stats on every quarterback? Well, filling my beer belly with cheap piss beer and hot wings. So I don't know. I have no clue whether he's a good player. But I do know that even crappy players on crappy teams tend to make seven-figure salaries. So I'm not saying that he suffers the same systemic oppression as more impoverished individuals. It's just like politicians. They claim to speak for the working class, and yet most of them are filthy rich. Filthy, filthy rich. Bernie Sanders, by comparison, the average politician in the United States was practically impoverished. He had almost as much debt as he had income. Yet now he buys like, what, a $350,000 home because of all the campaign contributions he held on to, paying himself a hefty salary because he knew he was going to lose and sold out on all those fucking socialists that donated to him in the first place. Good going, folks, by the way. To pretend that this man understands the plight of the average black citizen is no more ludicrous than pretending that a white person in his situation knows the same thing. Because they'd both be filthy rich. The fact that he happens to have black skin doesn't matter. It's like going to Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson and say, oh, well, how is it in the hood? They don't live in the hood. They don't live in the ghetto. They live in mansions and drive in armored limos. Or whole fleets of cars. They have private jets. It's like these fucking evangelical, these same people that support these retard turds will look at like an evangelical minister who lives in a 60-room home on 100 acres of land, multi-millionaire. They'll say, oh well, he doesn't know what it's like to be poor and what it's like to be charitable. No shit. It's the same thing with people like this. He's just doing this for popularity, probably. He's doing it to get some quick fame. Maybe he's not having a good year. He just wants to get famous or something. And if he does have good intent, let him take care of the black communities. He's got all sorts of money. Donate $1 million to black orphans or children in Africa with malaria or something. Start a charity. Do something like that. Don't proclaim that it's somebody else's fault. Don't always blame the police. I have to walk the tightrope here as a libertarian. Because I can't praise the Metro Police Forces. Yeah, they're violent. They're overly militaristic. They've got military gear that shouldn't be on our streets. Oh, but even Obama, in a moment of astonishing brilliance, was willing to admit, weapons of war have no place on our streets and our police forces. Yeah, private citizens, they should have the assault rifles. The police shouldn't. No, absolutely not. They don't need them. There's no crime epidemic in this country. We're at a 45-year low now in violent crime, people. That includes police shootings. That includes officers being shot, gang members shooting each other. It involves all that. The handful of places in this country that truly are riddled with crime tend to be liberal shitholes like Chicago, inner city Chicago, that are racked by the drug war that's propped up by both parties. I'm not going to give the fucking Republicans a pass on this by any means. They've kept it going with even more vigor than the Democrats. They're not even willing to entertain legalized medical marijuana, other than Trump. For some reason, he's for it. Power to him for being so. You think that this fucking football player is going to solve all your problems by sitting down for the national anthem? Hell no. It's not going to do a damn thing. Because he's not doing anything. It's the absence of doing something. He's sitting it out instead of taking part in it. How does it solve anything? Does it bring a life back to life that's been taken by a cop's bullet? No. Does it donate money to fight legal battles for impoverished black inner city people that have been wrongly accused? No. Does it help rehab for drug addicts, victims of the drug war? No. Well then, what is it accomplishing? He has every right to do this, but the principle behind it is stupid. It's not going to accomplish anything, number one. That's first. Second, it's going to alienate him to most of the population, including most black citizens. They'll see this, they'll say, why is he sitting out the national anthem? This is retarded. It's like flag burning. People burn the U.S. flag. Of course you got the right to do that. I don't care if you burn the flag. It's a piece of cloth, but it's not getting your message across. It's not helping you to be more respected by your peers. It's not causing people to take your arguments seriously. And I think this dude, didn't he, to the press conference thereafter, didn't he wear like a Fidel Castro shirt or something like that? Oh, yeah, he cares about oppression of blacks. This friend of Che Guevara who used to rant about how lazy black people were and was a virulent racist. Yeah, there you go, folks. No, he doesn't represent any minority community any more than Clinton represents the lower class, any more than any of these retard turds do, or some Evangelo Con multi-million-dollar fire and brimstone megachurch pastor represents the average Christian layperson. They've got nothing in common with them. These are the most corrupt individuals. I don't care that this dude can throw a ball and run across a field. Okay, that's very talented. You run really quick, and you can throw a ball sometimes. This does not make you qualified to speak on behalf of every minority individual in the goddamn country. It doesn't. And most of them are going to see through that bullshit. They're going to say, oh, well, I wonder, does he want us to donate to his personal fortune? Do they want us to stand in solidarity with him and go to more football games so he gets a higher salary or something? It's probably what he wants. He's just an idiot. But he's an idiot who has every fucking right to do what he's doing. Now, earlier I pointed out, when I thought he had sat out the Pledge of Allegiance, I pointed out, of course, well, it's basically an imperialistic gesture. The original salute for it was the straight arm Bellamy salute. It didn't originally mention under God. I don't care about God, so, be that as it may. But it doesn't really change the metrics of the situation. This is another example. He has the right to sit it out. Is it helping his cause? No. In fact, it's probably going to hurt his cause significantly because people see it as a sign of disrespect. But let's at the same time not conflate this with, oh, well, he hates the troops, he hates the United States, he pisses on our patriotism. Like I said, that has nothing to do with it. In fact, it would be rather unpatriotic to suggest that people should be compelled to stand up for the national anthem, or for the pledge, or for anything else for that matter. You can call him an asshole for doing it. You can say that he's retarded, like I am, for doing that and thinking it'll make a difference in his argument, because any difference it makes will be negative on his account. No, but he has the right to do it. You can't just, you can't, like some people, oh, ban him from the NFL. No, don't ban him from the NFL. That's not setting a good example. People shouldn't feel compelled to take oaths. They shouldn't feel compelled to offer allegiance to anything that they don't want to. They should, if they believe in liberty and freedom and justice, yeah, they probably should stand for the national anthem. But at the same time, there are times when you can't really pledge fealty to your country because it's being run by idiots. I understand this in regards to the Iraq War. I sat the pledge out during that period, a very dark period, because our president was an idiot. Congress abandoned us. They were destroying the economy. They were making us a laughing stock around the world. It accomplished nothing. Thousands of our brave young men died. Hundreds of thousands of Iraqis died needlessly. There was no reason to support it. There was no reason to pledge anything to any aspect of the government. And it felt too close to doing that, because so many people believe that if you pledge allegiance, you pledge allegiance to the government. You don't, but they feel that you do, so I couldn't do that. But at the same time, I didn't sit there and pretend, grandstand and pretend that it was some great moral act on my behalf. It wasn't. It was just out of principle. I felt like I couldn't do that. But this retard, fucking drooling cretin, who is best known for throwing a football around, thinks that he can take it upon himself to right all wrongs by not actually doing anything other than sitting down for the national anthem. It's pretty stupid, and he'll probably suffer as a consequence of it. He probably will end up alienating himself from the team, which I don't care. I don't care about football, and go flip burgers for all I care, but at the same time, it's not helping your cause. BLM, by the way, does this all the time. Now, BLM is an organic movement, fundamentally had a good idea. Well, police killings are bad. Well, no shit. They are in non-black communities too. Now it's devolved into a race-baiting bunch of anarchists and communists that burn the flag, and they pledge allegiance to Maoism or something like that. It's not going to help your cause. You're stupid. But then again, they think that it's smart. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. We'll see if your movement's still around in a year, if it goes the way of Occupy or something like that. I'm guessing probably the latter. Enjoy having 1,000 members that are still active around the country in a year's time. But yeah, a little bit about this. I don't even understand why it's controversial. It's common sense. Yeah, he has the right to do this. No, it's not a smart move. It's as simple as that. That's about all. Peace out.